Good morning, sir.
Um, So, in yesterday's class, we were discussing about the types of true experimental design. Then we'll start with some of the strengths of true experimental design, and we'll talk about a few limitations. Then we'll move on to fuzzy experimental design. Now, the main strength of true experimental design is that you can statistically analyze results. You can put numbers to it, and you can accurately tell what the results will be. Results are statistically analyzed. Okay. Now, other than that, you can replicate the experiment very easily. You get to verify the result. So suppose one researcher has performed a particular experiment using a true experimental design. Using the same condition or using similar conditions, you will be able to replicate the result. You might be able to verify the result at least. Okay. Let's suppose Sushmita has performed an experiment and she is telling x is equal to y. Now, if you want to verify this experiment, what you can do is you can simulate the same conditions that Sushmita did during her experiment, whatever she did, and you can verify whether x is equal to y. Maybe you might get x is less than y, or you might get some other result, but it will be replicable. You can replicate the experiment and you can verify the result, whether it is correct or not. Okay, and you will get causal relationship. Causal relationship can be easily established between dependent and independent variable. What is causing what? ठीक है कौन manipulate कर रहा कौन manipulate हो रहा those variables can easily be defined ठीक है and priority of observation is pretty high because the environment is controlled your observations will be purity of observation will be pretty high okay your observations will be pretty accurate in this some limitations of these studies so strengths में अपन क्या क्या बोले strengths of true experimental design. We just write it as true experimental TED. Okay, we have statistically analyzed results, so they are more accurate. A replication of experiment, you can replicate the experiment very easily. Even if you can't do it easily, you can replicate the this thing experiment in any way. Observations are pure due to controlled environment. Okay. Um, other than that, a causal relationship between dependent and independent variable can be determined using this. Right. Then coming to a few limitations, where do true experimental designs fall short? One main limitation of true experimental designs will be that study participants may not cooperate with you. Okay, that is one big problem with true experimental design. Sometimes even the setup is expensive. Okay, the results of human studies cannot be replicated most of the time. You can do it in this thing non-animate objects. but अगर आप human studies में अगर कर रहे हैं, especially due to ethical problems, you might not be able to replicate them. Or even if you do not have ethical problems, let's suppose there is an experimental drug that you want to test in patients who have cancer. Okay? And you are taking one X type of cancer. And you are doing that experiment in Indians. Even if you want to replicate the experiment, you will again have to find Indians. You will again have to find, ethical. You have to go through the hospital management and get the ethical clearance, and you'll have to perform the same experiment. Maybe someone in some other country wants to perform that experiment. They will not be able to because they do not have Indians there. Okay? Or, for example, they might have a different breed of Indians there. Example, जैसा let's suppose मध्य प्रदेश में experiment कर example okay they took 150 patients of a certain type of cancer and what they did was they run that experimental drug on them and found some results if some researcher in Portugal or in Bulgaria let's suppose wants to replicate the same result First of all, he has to find cancer patients who are Indian, of Indian origin or Indian descent or something. Now, they need to be pure Indians, as how the people in Madhya Pradesh are, in the sense that, let's suppose they are mixed, in the sense that maybe one of parent is Indian, the other parent is foreigner. वैसा रहा तो नहीं चलता. So it will be kind of difficult to replicate the same conditions in that scenario. That can be a limitation. Okay? The results in human studies cannot be replicated. इनएनिमेट ऑब्जेक्ट में कर रहे तो आप कर सकते, या कोई और चीज में कर रहे तो कर सकते रेप्लिकेट. स्टडी पार्टिसिपेंट्स में भी अनकोऑपरेटिव. ठीक है. Other than that, there is no guarantee that any human or living organism will exhibit normal behavior during the study. Now, when you are performing the study, you will expect that dependent variable or that subject to behave in a certain manner. There is a complete possibility that they will not. They might behave in a completely different manner altogether. So, giving you an exception. वैसे बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं. So that is one another limitation of true experimental design. Behavioral changes in this thing. This will also tie into uncooperative nature of participants. Even if they are not uncooperative, they might not behave in the traditional way. So वैसा है. ठीक है. Now coming to quasi-experimental design. So that was about two experimental design. See, one conclusion that you can draw from true experimental design, an important conclusion is that uh, the researcher plays a very active role. Okay, researcher has a very active role in the experimental work rather than being a passive observer. He will intervene, he or she will intervene, and they will make decisions, and they will talk to patients, and they will do something to the patient, wherein you are influencing the result. Researcher is almost as much as an active part of the research as the subject itself. Right? यहाँ पर researcher का बहुत important part है play करने का in the study itself. Okay? He is directly getting involved, he or she. Then we have the other type of experimental design, second type, which is quasi-experimental design. Now, these are developed as an alternative to true experimental design. These are also helping in examining causality in situations when it is difficult to perform experimental control. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पर the main difference between experimental, true experimental and quasi-experimental is that if you remember in experimental design, I told you true experimental design के तीन important characteristics रहते. Manipulation of variable, that is independent variable, control, presence of control group, and randomization. You are randomly selecting people. Quasi-experimental design may you will either have control or randomization, not both. True experimental design may all three will be present. In true experimental design, you'll have manipulation, you'll have an independent variable that is manipulating the independent variables, you will have a control group, and you are randomly selecting individuals in those groups. In quasi-experimental designs, you will definitely have manipulation. That will still be there. You are having an independent variable that is manipulating dependent variable. You have an intervention that you want to check. But the groups that you have, they will either not be a control group or they will not be a randomized group. मतलब दोनों में से एक रहता, या तो कंट्रोल रहता या randomization रहता, दोनों भी नहीं रहते. Okay, that is the main difference between quasi experimental groups and true experimental groups. ठीक है. Now coming to the types of quasi experimental group or quasi experimental design. Types of quasi-experimental design. So let's suppose we start off with the Latin square design, counterbalance design बोलते हैं इसको. Counterbalanced design. ठीक है. काउंटर बैलेंस डिजाइन में आप क्या कर रहे हैं? Essentially, you are counterbalancing two independent variables in the sense that the researcher can control two non-interacting external variables and manipulate independent variables. I'll give you one example. Let us suppose there is an experiment a person is running and they want to see whether concentration increases based on the type of music. Okay? Let's suppose a researcher wants to find out whether concentration while studying or while doing anything increases depending on the type of music someone is using. So let's suppose they are having two groups. Group one, uh, they perform word search. Okay. Let's suppose the what you call metric for choosing concentration is word search. They are searching for specific words. Okay. They perform word search on rock music, imagine, okay, or folk music, whatever music it is. Okay. And group two, जो है, they perform word search on classical music. अब यहाँ पर मैं वर्ड सर्च यूज कर रहा हूँ एज अ मेट्रिक फॉर concentration, or you can also use another example. Let's suppose they are studying for a test and you see the test results based on the music they are playing in the background. You will make both of those groups study and you will test them later on. वैसा भी कर सकता, but यहाँ पर वर्ड सर्च को रखेंगे. अब ये एक्सपेरिमेंट में लेट्स सपोज यू फाइंड आउट दैट द ग्रुप हु लिसन टू क्लासिकल म्यूजिक हैज बेटर कंसंट्रेशन. ठीक है. Initially, you run an experiment wherein you have two groups and you ask both of them to perform a word search on Google, where to find some words and meanings of the words, and you are essentially checking their concentration. One group is doing that in rock music, and the same group again is doing it on classical music. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आता, जो ग्रुप रॉक म्यूजिक पे कर दिया, we cannot say whether or not their concentration specifically increased because of classical music. It could be that they got used to it during rock music time and then they improved in the classical music time. I'll repeat once again. You have a group of people. Let's suppose we eliminate this group. Let's suppose this is also group one to avoid confusion. ठीक है, आप एक ग्रुप ले रहे हैं एंड आप वो ग्रुप को क्या कर रहे हैं, पहले you are asking them to perform a word search on rock music, then later on you are asking them to perform word search on classical music. Now even if you get the result that they are performing better on classical music, you cannot attribute it completely to classical music. ठीक है. यहाँ पर ये type of study किधर help करती, when you do not know whether the person is performing or the person is giving a group is giving a certain result because of the independent variable or because of an external variable. यहाँ पर external variable could be the person's or the group's adaptability. मतलब क्या है, आप adapt कर लिए, you have already done it on rock music, so you have certain clue of how to do it on music altogether. Okay, the person or that group has learned how to do it. Or another easier example would be, let's suppose someone is trying to check for drunken driving. How well do people perform while they are drunk? How well do they drive while they are drunk? ठीक है. आप एक ग्रुप को let's suppose you are making them drive in a what do you call, second, let me paint another scenario. Imagine you have a group of 10 people, and in those 10 people what you are doing is you are giving them a little bit of alcohol, and under the influence of alcohol they are driving a certain car. Okay, let's suppose they are driving car A. Okay, once they drive car A, you are seeing how well they are driving, and again under the influence of alcohol you are asking them to drive car B. Ab you can, let's suppose the result is that they are driving car B better. It could be said that it is because of the car, or it can also be said that the patient or the group got used to alcohol when they were driving car A and they performed better in car B. Okay? So that could also be the reason. यहाँ पर you do not know whether the result that you are giving that you are getting is because of a variable, independent variable, or is it because of some other external factor? In those scenarios you will perform counterbalancing. ठीक है, तो अब counterbalancing कैसे करते हैं आप? Let's suppose going back to the same music example, you are asking them word search on rock music and classical music. So you are making them search for certain words on rock music, then immediately after that you are asking them to do it on classical music. Then after a little while, maybe after a few days, you are asking them to perform word search on classical music, then on rock music. मतलब आप दोनों सिनारियोस दे रहे पेशेंट को और द ग्रुप को. तो यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हैं, पहले रॉक म्यूजिक को सब्जेक्ट करें, देन क्लासिकल म्यूजिक को सब्जेक्ट करें पेशेंट को. एंड लेट्स सपोज इन दिस यू आर फाइंडिंग दैट द concentration is better in classical music. Then again after a little while you are asking them to perform word search, and in this scenario first you subject them to classical music, then you subject them to rock music. Even if we account for learning, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, because you are subjecting them to both of those independent variables, because you're subjecting them to both of those type of music, and let's suppose you find out that in both the scenarios they are performing better on classical music, you will get your result. You are counterbalancing the variables here. ठीक है, यहाँ पर you are making sure that the group is subjected to both of these. यहाँ पर randomization नहीं है, ठीक है. In this group you can find that there is no randomization. You are specifically selecting a group of people and you are performing the experiment. I hope you understood this. You are essentially counterbalancing variables in this scenario. That is why it is called a Latin square design, or it is called a counterbalance design. You are performing the same experiment, and you are using two different type of variables. You did not know what variable was causing the result. So what you did was you essentially subjected the patients, or you subjected the group to both of those variables and saw what is happening to the patient. ठीक है, इन डिफरेंट सिनारियोस. मतलब पहले एक वेरिएबल करे, देन सेकंड करे, then in the second instance you did variable number 2, then variable number 1, and let's suppose you are finding that the patients are performing better on variable number 2. That is how you will get the result, and you will know for sure that it is because of variable number 2 that they are doing better, rather than simply getting used to it. So that is counterbalance design. Then we have another type of quasi-experimental design, which is interrupted time series. Okay, interrupted time series design भी बोलते हैं इसको. Now in this what you will do is, it involves a series of periodic measurements. You are measuring the response of a group, or you are measuring the response of a person on dependent variables. ठीक है, from a group of test units. So आप कैसा represent करते हैं इसको? Let's suppose you are taking a few measurements, observation before doing anything. यहाँ पर observation 1, observation 2, observation 3, observation 4. आप उसके बाद ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हैं और इंटरवेंशन दे रहे हैं, इसको एक्स1 के लिए रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. ठीक है, यू आर गिविंग एक्स, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू आर मेजरिंग अगेन observation 5, observation 6, observation 7, and observation 8. For example, let's suppose you are seeing psychiatric patients, some person who has depression, okay, and ये patient में, now there is no randomization in this. You are specifically looking for depressed patients, and in them what you are doing is, before giving the intervention or before giving an antidepressant drug, you are seeing how their mood will fluctuate, or how their mood is improving or it is deteriorating. After that you give the drug, and you wait for a little while, and then you continue seeing their observation. तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं, पहले you are observing without the intervention, you give the intervention, then you observe after the intervention what will happen to the patient. ठीक है, you observe over time what is happening to the patient. There is no randomization of test in this. ठीक है, researcher cannot control the timing of treatment as well. You will just expose the test units to treatment. मतलब आप treatment जो है इधर भी दे सकते हैं, या फिर treatment यहाँ पर भी दे सकते हैं, कहीं पर भी बीच में दे रहे. You are essentially seeing a few observations then randomly you are giving a treatment in between, then you are seeing what is happening to the patient after that. That is why it is called an interrupted time series. You are interrupting the observations, and in between you give, your intervention or your drug, and you see what is happening. Now, taking a series of measurements before and after treatment will provide partial control of several extraneous variables. You will know that their mood is not fluctuating, maybe because of something else that is happening in their day. अब यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे थे? Now this observation could be timed as well. For example, at 10 a.m. you took observation 1, then at 11 a.m. you took observation 2, maybe 12 p.m. you took observation 3, 1 p.m. you took observation 4, then you gave the intervention, then again for the next 4 hours you observe. Up next day, you can run the same experiment, but what you can do is you can perform that intervention here. तो 10 a.m. आप ऑब्जर्व करते, 11 a.m. ऑब्जर्व करते, फिर ड्रग देते, उसके बाद रेस्ट ऑफ द डे यू ऑब्जर्व. सो यू कैन क्लियरली सी एट डिफरेंट टाइम इंटरवल्स आप अगर दिए इंटरप्ट करके क्या ऑब्जर्व हो रहा, what is the difference in the patient's mood, or what is the difference in the group, the mood of that group, mood of the depressed group. ठीक है, इम्प्रूव हो रहा, नहीं हो रहा, सेम रह रहा, क्या रहा, क्या हो रहा, mood. ठीक है, that is the interrupted time series design. Then we have non-equivalent control group before after test design or before after design. That is the name of that type of test. Okay, that is the type of experimental design. इसमें क्या करते हैं? You have 2 or more groups of subjects and they are observed before and after the implementation of intervention. They are not randomly selected in this as well, but you have 2 different groups यहाँ पर. आप क्या कर रहे हैं? Let's suppose observation 1, you perform the treatment or you give an observation. X is the observation, O is the observation. ठीक है? X is the treatment, O is the observation. अब observation 1 है, then you give an intervention, you observe. Then in another group, you see, let's suppose this is group 1 and this is group 2. ठीक है, आप observe कर रहे हैं, let's suppose this is observation 3, then you give an intervention again and you observe again. तो आपके पास, it is very identical to before after experimental design, except there is no randomly assigned groups here. You specifically look for a type of group, and in those group आप पहले देख रहे हैं and immediately बाद में देख रहे हैं. यहाँ पर there is not time design के वैसे, you are not looking at a long interrupted interval. You are immediately seeing before giving the drug what is happening and after giving the drug what is happening. You are accounting the time period it requires for the drug to take action. Okay, so in this scenario, let's suppose that X can also be counseling. Okay, let's suppose again in the same scenario, let's suppose we take depressed patients and unke andar we are performing counseling. We are counseling them to lead a better life, just to improve their mood as such. And aap kya kar rahe? You are counseling them for 15 minutes. So before counseling, how was their mood? And immediately after counseling, how is their mood? That will be 2 observations. Then आप एक और group लेते, उनके अंदर भी next day you do the same thing. Before counseling and after counseling, what is happening? ठीक है? That is how you will be able to find out before and after what is happening to patients. ठीक है? आप एक और कंट्रोल ग्रुप दे सकते हैं कि कंट्रोल ग्रुप यहाँ पर है, ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं आप observation 5 and observation 6. यहाँ पर what is happening without giving any counseling, what will happen to that particular control group? मतलब आप उनको काउंसिल नहीं कर रहे, what is happening in the same time frame. ठीक है, इनको let's suppose at 10 a.m. आप ऑब्जर्व कर रहे थे, आप 10 a.m. से 10:15 को काउंसलिंग दिए, then at 10:15 you are observing again. You are doing the same for these two, and here you are not giving any counseling and you are seeing is there any change in their mood between 10 a.m. to 10:15. So you'll be able to compare what is happening to their mood in the presence of counseling. Before and after counseling, what is happening to their mood. Okay. Then we have one group pre-test post-test design. There is one group pre-test, post-test design. Now this will be randomly involved. You have subjects who have random here. Okay. So whenever there is randomization, you will see R is written here. Okay, R बोल के लिख देते हैं. And this is represented as O1, this and this. So now you are randomly selecting people from a hospital, and उनके अंदर आप क्या कर रहे हैं? यहाँ पर control group नहीं है. You have randomly selected some people, and one group of subjects is only involved. ठीक है, एक ही group लेंगे आप, and they are observed before and after implementation of a particular intervention. So, for example, you have a new type of chewing gum. Example, you have a new type of chewing gum, and you want to see whether people like it or not. तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं? Randomly you are picking people from the road, or you are just randomly passing by people, and you ask them to try the gum, and you see before taking the chewing gum, what was their feeling, and after taking the chewing gum, what was their feeling. So this is only an example. Okay, आप क्या कर रहे हैं? एक ही group ले रहे हैं. You are randomly taking people, and you are giving that intervention to them, or maybe you are giving a piece of knowledge to them. You might be telling that tomorrow is a public holiday. Example, tomorrow is a public holiday. What will happen to that group before and after observation? Now obviously आप वो intervention के लिए facts आप change कर रहे हैं, जो भी कर रहे हैं, that is a different issue altogether. But you are seeing in that same group who you have randomly selected, observation before giving the intervention, and observation after giving the intervention. What is happening? Then we have another type of quasi-experimental design, which is non-equivalent control group post-test only design. ठीक है, यहाँ पर there is no randomization. You are specifically looking for a type of this thing, and you have a control group. Now in this, what you will do is it will involve periodic introduction of treatments. You will periodically introduce different type of treatments followed by measurements. Okay, you will see what type of treatment is working. अब समझो you have patients who have peptic ulcer. Example. अब आप क्या कर रहे हैं? ये स्पेसिफिकली यहाँ पर रैंडमाइजेशन नहीं है. स्पेसिफिकली नो दैट द पेशेंट हैज पेप्टिक अल्सर. यू टेक 10 पेशेंट्स ऑफ पेप्टिक अल्सर, एंड लेट्स सपोज you are giving treatment 1 on day 1, and you observe. ठीक है, then again on day 2 you give treatment 2 and you observe, treatment 3 on day 3 and you observe. ठीक है, ऐसा आप करते जा रहे हैं. Then maybe in a you give 2-3 different types of treatments, and you see what is happening to the patient. ठीक है, let's suppose on day 2 you again start the same thing. You will be able to find out that एक दिन की वजह से हुआ या over giving it for multiple days, which of these treatments was better, and which of these observations showed you that which treatment is better in different patients. Now you can randomize them as well. ठीक है, थोड़ा आप maybe X2 पहले दे रहे, because there can be a problem that because of presence of X1, X2 is getting affected. ठीक है, maybe the peptic ulcer was treated a little bit because of X1, but it was not completely cured, and that you observe. And by the time you are giving X2, it is getting improved much more. That might skew your results, saying that X2 is better than X1, but that might not be the case. तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं? पहले X2 दे रहे हैं, उसके बाद observe कर रहे हैं, then X1 दे रहे हैं, then observe कर रहे हैं. वैसा भी कर सकते हैं. You can play around a lot. यहाँ पर you have no equivalence. You have one control group who is not getting the treatment, and you are seeing what is happening to them, and you are only seeing after the treatment. That is why post-test only. Only after the treatment you are seeing the observation. Before treatment you are not seeing what is happening with the patient. You already know that they have one particular condition, so they are non-randomly selected. You know who they are, and you are giving treatment to them, and you are immediately observing what is happening as a result of treatment. And you give multiple treatments over the days. You can and see what is happening to patients. So those are different types of this thing. क्या बोलते quasi-experimental design. There is one more, the last one. I will have several more of these. I'm only discussing some of the simple ones. Separate sample, pre-test post-test design. Now, separate sample pre-test post-test design is also called simulated before-after design. इसमें क्या करते हैं? This design is specifically for public opinion. Let's suppose you have a very large population who you cannot randomize or you cannot segregate. Okay, and you want to take their opinion. You have a very big population where a researcher cannot randomize or segregate into subgroups. So what you will do is you will take two equivalent groups. Okay, so let's suppose you take two groups of 15,000 people and 15,000 people. ठीक है, आपके पास टोटल पॉपुलेशन 30 किया, दो ग्रुप में डिवाइड करते 15 and 50. One sample is measured before the treatment. Okay, so you have an observation and then treatment. While the other sample, you give the treatment, then you observe. ठीक है, तो एक सैंपल में और एक ग्रुप में you observe first, then you give the treatment. In the second sample, you give the treatment first, then you observe what is happening to the patient. These are called separate sample pre-test post-test design. Now, as they are done in a natural setting, you know, the findings from one experiment may be applied to another. These will allow for generalizations. It is very good for longitudinal research as well. For a long time, अगर आप research करना चाह रहे हैं, उसके लिए भी अच्छा है. ठीक है, straightforward research will go on for years together. Those are longitudinal researches. ठीक है, यहाँ पर very simple, एक बड़ा group ले रहे हैं आप, and यहाँ पर treatment बोल रहा हूँ मैं, it can be opinion to a certain fact that you are exposing them to. Let's suppose one day you, let's suppose the fact that you are telling is, how should I put it? For example, you are telling people that Africa is invading India. Example, ठीक है? Let's suppose you are telling people Africa is invading India. तो आप क्या करते हैं? पहले in group 1 you take the observation. Do you have any knowledge about this? That will be your observation. You take randomly 15,000 people and you ask their opinion. ठीक है? Then you give that knowledge. कि Africa is invading India. Then in the second group, what you do is you give that knowledge first, then you observe their reaction. So that you have two different type of reactions altogether in two different groups. यहाँ पर आप essentially opinion ले रहे हैं. This can be made up as well. Whatever. मैं एक example दे रहा हूँ आपको. ठीक है. You can make up any fact or you can see the effect of any hypothesis that you put forward and you see what will be the people's reaction to that piece of information or to that intervention as such. So those are pre-test post-test design. Separate sample pre-test post-test design. Okay. Now we'll discuss about disadvantages and advantages of quasi-experimental design in the next class.